All right, guys, thank you for joining me this morning. Appreciate it as always. I know it's early, but I got to go on to work, so that's the only reason why I'm doing it this early. The shoot that I had this morning, the chick canceled and wanted to do it tonight, and I'm like, well, not tonight either. Hopefully, I work overtime. But it worked out in my better interest because I really didn't want to wake up at 5 in the morning, or 4:30 in the morning, rather. Excuse me. Love and life, pimping ain't easy. Coffee, Southern, prep to adapt. Thank you for the 5x5, guys. Appreciate it. So, yes, I have to go off the air at 7:30 and then head into work. So, I am fucking tired. But I'll catch up on some rest, I guess, later today. Lou, thank you for the 5x5 from the UK. Appreciate it. Thank you. And now thinking about it, I should have fucking had coffee instead of this water or whatever. So, we got a couple of articles to talk about. Again, guys, Midweek Report is just talking about shit that we might have missed during the week. Oddball stories or just interesting stories that, we should talk about. Not that we should talk about, but it would be interesting to talk about, excuse me. So, there was a incident the other day. This was in Texas, I think, right? Arizona. And I'm releasing a video later today talking about society and its breakdown. But this happened just 2 days ago, and supposedly the victim told the guy, or asked the guy, how you doing, right? And the guy reacted by way of, and I quote, ripping the stranger's eyeball out. All right. So, Arizona man is facing felony aggravated assault charges for an unprovoked attack he allegedly unleashed on a stranger, with cops saying he grabbed an individual from behind and completely removed his eyeball from the eye socket after the victim walked by, asked the suspect, how you doing? The victim stated that during this incident he was in fear of his life and safety, believed that Daniel could have offed him, police allegedly. Now the suspect's name is Daniel Lanks. Clearly looks like a psych patient. But this is why when you say shit to people, like, first of all, you don't say anything to the psych patients. You can look at him and go, man, that's a crazy looking dude. Leave him be. That is not to say that this guy wouldn't have done it anyway, right? I mean, these people don't often need a trigger. Just you breathing or just being by them will trigger them. But, like I said, this happened in Phoenix, Arizona. This was a couple days ago. So, I believe that could. So, police alleged court documents obtained by local Fox affiliate KSAZ, which outlined the charges against Daniel Lanks, 39-year-old, who was accused of carrying out an attack on Monday, April 14th, near 48th Street and Broadway Road. 48th Street and Broadway Road sounds like New York, but it's actually in Arizona. The attack was completely unprovoked. He did not threaten Daniel, challenge him, and did not have any form of weapon to be perceived as a threat, the document says. Lanks allegedly pummeled the victim with punches to his face after removing his eyeball, causing a fractured jaw as well. So now this guy has to eat through a straw and get his eyeball put back in. Now you can pop eyeballs back into sockets. Again, it depends on the damage to the ocular nerve. The victim stated this loss. Oh, okay. The victim stated this loss of his right eye and fractured jaw will forever impact the quality of his life, and ensures that if he will be able to work again to perform many basic life functioning tasks. Now, your jaw doesn't require you to do a lot of shit. His jaw will heal, but he lost his eye. That sucks. Lanks is allegedly near a shop at the intersection of Broadway and 48th Street when the victim crossed paths early Monday morning at around 1 a.m. That's definitely when you don't say some shit to somebody. 1 a.m. is usually like crazy people time. It was the usual suspect? Yeah, a crazy person. You know, not the black person. Well, I mean, he was black, but that's neither here or there. The guy's a psych patient. Anyway, so police say Lanks responded by telling the man he would whip his ass as the individual walked away from him. Post Miranda, Daniel told detectives to shut the fuck up, and that he did not understand his rights. Lanks was booked with the felony aggravated assault. He has been released from He had been released from custody on his own recognizance a week ago, prior to the alleged attack, for a separate arrest and charged of aggravated assault and organized retail theft for prior incident that allegedly occurred. Lanks is currently being held on a $500,000 bail as of April 14th during the attack. Interesting. So he was in jail and then they let him go. That's interesting. So, yeah, don't say hi to crazy people at 1 o'clock in the morning. I think that's the gist of it. You know, just be like the guy, you know, and to rip somebody's eye out of their socket, that's an intentional, deep move. I went to Homestead. It's 4 o'clock in Washington State. Can't sleep. I hear you. I slept pretty good today, with the exception that I had to get up early and do this. So I would have probably been. I might have been waking up now, actually. But yeah, I love sleep now. When you're old, man, you love sleep, naps, and fucking warm shit. It sucks. Oh, it's gross. You know, like you like to be warm in bed. Like I try to keep my room at 65 degrees or lower when I sleep at night. Because you sleep better at that temperature, by the way. So, this is not so much a depressing story. It's just a semi-sad story. Mom and son both found dead inside their squalid Bronx apartment, where their 4-year-old sister or daughter was trapped screaming for days. The 4-year-old was living off of chocolate. The chocolate bars. Don't know where the fuck she found chocolate, but whatever. So a woman struggling with mental health and her disabled son were both found dead in the Bronx apartment last Friday, with the 4-year-old daughter apparently trapped alone inside the bug-covered corpse for days, substituting on chocolate, or subsisting. I never heard that. I never heard it used that way. Excuse me. Lisa Cotton, 38-year-old, and her 8-year-old son, Nari Millen, were declared dead at a tragic scene. The woman's 4-year-old daughter, promised to live the next day, was found covered in chocolate on her mom's bed by an older sibling who came to check on the doomed family. Neither body had signs of trauma. Cotton Cotton, who had asthma, may have died from cardiac arrest, authorities are saying. God, I'm really... So authorities told her dad, Hubbard Cotton, while Naeem, who was born prematurely and had a feeding tube, might have tragically starved to death. So this is one of those series of unfortunate events. The mother has an asthma attack. Asthma attack leads to cardiac arrest. She passes away. The 8-year-old son, who's disabled, if I'm not mistaken, bound to a bed and or wheelchair, starved to death because his tube couldn't be replaced, or he couldn't be fed through his tube. Excuse me. It's unclear when the mom and or son passed away, or how long the girl had been alone inside, but neighbors had been complaining of a foul odor of smell for at least a week. Now it says weeks, but I doubt that very much. Well, maybe 2 weeks. So no one answered the door on the second floor unit. Neighbors told the officers they hadn't seen Cotton or her kids in 2 weeks. But responding officers did not hear any noise or notice any odor and had no reason to break the door down. Now, that's interesting because in New York, if somebody says, we've broken down a lot of doors. When I was in EMS, we broken doors down. When I was in fire, we broke doors down just based on no one answering the door. So that's interesting that the cops didn't, and then they didn't smell anything. As though there is a range where the body stops smelling, and I don't know what range that is. So they might have been passed away for a little while. Let's see. They said responding officer. All right. They said that they'd be back in a few days. A neighbor said of the cops. One of the social workers said she was trying to get a court order to have the door broken in. Again, there has never been in the history, at least when we've responded, court order to break a door. You break a door just on the premise of shit like this. Now, they didn't hear the kid crying because the kid was probably sleeping at that moment the cops came by. So that's probably why they didn't. But a lot of the times, man, EMS would get called and they would have to break the door. Or cops are like, I think there's a body in here. We haven't heard or seen this person, but we don't smell anything. Do you mind breaking the doors? And we're breaking doors. Breaking a lot of doors. That's like the fun part of your job, is breaking doors down. Anyway. The shocking discovery was finally made Friday night after concerned Hubbard, 71, the father, got a call from his daughter, landlord, asking if she had moved out. I have been trying to call her for days and she never answered. I figured she didn't answer me because she didn't want to talk to me. This is the landlord. No, this is the father, excuse me. He sent Cotton's oldest daughter to the apartment to check on them. When she came in, Nazir was slumped over, still in his chair. The woman then looked for Cotton and instead found Promise feeding herself chocolate on her mother's bed. She picked her up and ran out of the apartment calling the cops. According to the transcript, the young woman's Friday night 911 call had been bugs crawling on Nasir's body. Nasir was so small, I held him in my palm like a bird, like a young bird, devastated grandfather recalled when he was born, that is, not now. Now he is caring for Promise in his Bronx home. So that's a interesting and shitty story. So, next interesting thing that I looked up the other day, relief of custody in Virginia. Apparently, parents are giving up custody of their kids to the state. Now, I initially heard the story, I thought that, I was like, wait a minute, what is the state doing having parents relinquish their custody to the state? That just sounds like some futuristic, we're going to do some robotic shit to your kids kind of shit. But nonetheless, more parents are giving up their kids in this part of Virginia. Crisis in Virginia as parents seek relief of custody. And News 10 is reporting this story. Anyway, sounds like a bunch of fucking lazy-ass parents. Parents voluntarily giving up their kids as they get older. Close to the kids being teens or in their teen years. It's a huge problem in Virginia, specifically in our part of the Commonwealth. It is shocking and creates an additional burden on the foster care system. It's called relief of custody. Hundreds of petitions have been filed in just the past 5 years. To think that parents being faced with a decision, how do I keep my younger kids safe? How do I keep myself safe? How do I keep my child, the teenager that I love, safe? And feeling like they're failing at that, what a feeling that must be. They have been feeling they have no choice, said Brown. But the choices parents are faced with, there is an increase in parents filing for relief of custody. When a parent decides that they're unable to care for their child, they ask the court to relieve them of custody, typically with child's that go into foster care. Brown is part of an advisory group of Virginia Commission on the Youth to try and solve this issue. They don't really know why this is happening, but they said that in the last 5 years, these cases have doubled, if not tripled. So I find that very interesting. Hey, Pinball, what's going on, man? Thank you for joining me. Or us, rather. Appreciate it. So Juvenile and Domestic Relation District Court data shows that in Virginia, as of 2029 to 2024, West Virginia is 48%, Central Virginia is 27% of parents giving up their increase. North Virginia is 7%, and Tidewater is 18%. I don't know where Tidewater, Virginia is. Like, no clue. So the solution is being discussed right now, getting connected to the parents earlier, providing training for parents who adopt, because once the kids hit the teens, it is hard for families as a teen to try to get them figured out or have them find families, right? Most people don't want kids at an old age. Nobody wants my ass at the fucking age of 47. Nobody definitely wants a kid as 13-year-old mouthing off and talking back, right? So that has always been a problem, and they're seeing more kids in the in these homes. And what do? So now a lot of these kids, if they get there by, let's say, 12, 13 years old, or even as young as 8 or 9, they don't see foster homes until a lot of kids, they don't ever see them, right? So they have to wait till they're 18, is it, right? When they get kicked out, or 21 when they're kicked out of the foster care system. Getting court and police earlier and involved with the families, and changing the code of Virginia so that parents can't give up their kids, So I find that to be interesting. I mean, and this generation of kids, you want to like backhand and then body slam. But you can't do that, I guess. I guess it's frowned upon. So giving up your kids is the easier option. And a lot of parents are discovering this and doing so. So I could see them changing this law because they are, I guess they're inundating the foster care system with kids that are not going to get homes. They're just not. So this is just making that problem a lot worse. So there's one other thing I wanted to talk about today. For those that might not know, Klaus Schwab stepped down as the founder and chair of World Economic Forum. I find that interesting that he stepped down the same day the Pope died, both of them 88 years old. The World Economic Forum chair, Klaus Schwab, stated earlier this year, just this year if I'm not mistaken, that he wasn't going to step down until 2027. So then he turns around after the Pope passes away, like the Pope was supposed to step down in 2027, and instead the Pope passed away earlier, and he stepped down at the same time. Now, some rumors are saying he's being forced out. He is 88 years old. Why would he want to stay in power any longer? Who knows? But old people who've been in that position for over 55 years do not give up that fucking position lightly. Now, instead, if I'm not mistaken, Peter Brabeck is taking over, right? So Peter Brabeck, the CEO or ex-CEO of Nestle, is taking over the World Economic Forum role. But he is 70-something, if I'm not mistaken. He was born in 1944 in November in Austria. This is the same guy that said drinking water is a privilege. So when you guys were telling me last night that this was way worse, or this guy was way worse, when I found out who it was, I was like, yes, he thinks drinking water is a privilege. Or clean water is a privilege, He has said that, and he said it proudly numerous times. So anyway, he's going to step in Klaus Schwab's place. This is going to get interesting, because if this guy has the same mindset as, well, drinking water is a privilege, we're in fucking trouble. That's all I can say. And the water industry is in bigger trouble, or all drinking water around the world is in trouble if this guy takes over. So that's a shitty thing. And last story, because I have to go off the air soon. Mexican child infected with bird flu died from respiratory complication. The 3-year-old in Mexico died this month after getting infected with H5N1, according to a report by the World Health Organization, another organization not to trust. Authorities say the strain of bird flu is one that has been circulating in wild birds throughout North America, known as the D11. It is the same strain implicated in the death of a person in Louisiana earlier this year, and in the case of a 13-year-old Canadian who was placed on life support for several weeks before recovering. I remember hearing that story. I thought that kid was a goner, but apparently it's a boy, if I'm not mistaken, survived. The two others, a person in Wyoming, a poultry worker in Ohio, were also reported with a severe disease after being exposed to the strain. The strain has been detected in a dairy herd from Nevada and in Arizona. The case in Mexico is another great reminder how dangerous H5 virus can be. Here we go, said Richard Webby, an infectious disease expert at the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Texas. They keep trying to tell us how dangerous it is. We know how dangerous it is, and we know their game plan. So I think, guys, they're building this H5N1 slowly. They're giving it more of a backstory, and then we're going to see it explode within the next couple of years. I think by the end of this year, we're going to see something interesting happen with this. This is just going to be one of those things where we're just going to see one of those things where it's going to explode all of a sudden. They're going to get people nervous about it. Tiger13 said, I read in the AM he stole money from the WEF. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's been in that position for 50 years. But being in a position for 50 years, all of a sudden now you're stealing money? I don't know. I'm not buying it. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, but I also don't. Guy's been 55 years. He's been this. And he's the founder of this shit. Why would he be stealing money? The guy has more money than God being in this position. And more importantly, he has the power status. That power status you can't buy. So he was talking about stepping down, if I'm not mistaken, earlier this month, right? So April 3rd, I read an article stating that he was getting ready to step down. And that he was putting, things in motion. And then the 22nd, or the 21st, he stepped down. He officially stepped down. He announced it in one day. Now, they said he decided to step down position of the chairman, effective immediately. Meanwhile, the board appointed its vice chair president, Peter Barack Latham, to act as the interim chair while a search committee has been tasked with picking the future chair in accordance with the forum's rule and regulation. But they look like they're going to go with this other water is a privilege guy. Swabs, then a business professor at the University of Geneva, found the global NGO and think tank back in 1971. Wow. It's a long time. So yeah, if you can send me that article, I'd greatly appreciate it. But I don't know what they're, again, 88 years old. Why would you want to keep working? I would have retired fucking 20 years prior to that. Hell, 20 years, maybe 30 years, I would have retired. I would not wait until fucking 88 to step down. And the amount of responsibility and shit, granted, bad guy or not, you're still a busy dude. And for 88 years old, if you watch this man move at 88, he moves really well. I mean, he's just he's on it too, and he's sharp as a tack at 88. I would hope to be that sharp at 88 years old, man. I really would. But that's not going to be the case. I mean, listen, I guess you keep working out and you have all of these amenities at your fingertips. Who knows? So, yeah. He states, following my recent announcement, as I entered my 88th year, I have decided to step down from position of chair and a member of the board trustees with immediate effect, Klaus Schwab stated. And that's a picture of him from 2007. Why is it such a young picture? Anyway, I didn't know he was a founder of the World Health Organization. I just know that he ran it with he didn't run it with an iron fist either, but he ran it. And anyway, he steps down, and now we got somebody way fucking worse stepping in. So other than that, guys, yeah, the world is falling apart. And this, guys, him stepping down, this is not an accident. This is by design. So I just don't get what's going on there. So other than that, there's wildfire is still going on in New Jersey as thousands blaze explode inside. So it exploded inside from last night. The wildfire, guys, that I spoke about last night has grew in size. As of Tuesday afternoon, Jones road fire burning in somebody's asshole in New Jersey has consumed 1,200 acres and is uncontrolled. So they have no control over right now. And the Garden State Parkway is closed down near Waretown. That's closer to like Atlantic City area. So that's about 2 hours from here. But I'm pretty sure if I look down at my window and look south, I could see some smoke. Tiger Center. Thank you, Tiger. Tiger 13. Appreciate it. All right. Other than that, guys, in a couple more minutes to go off the air. And yeah, so listen, guys, all of the shit that's been going on lately, it's just going to get more interesting. I don't want to say it's going to get worse, because I think being that we are in this lull of shit that's going bad, it's seemingly like we're getting used to it. And things are definitely going to get way more interesting. I don't want to say bad, because I don't know which way this is gonna go. But this is definitely going to get interesting. I know some of you might be watching the Pope funeral, right? So I think his body is now at the Peter's Basilica for public viewing. Normally that has millions of people turn out, right? And if I'm not mistaken, you walk by his casket. I know years ago they used to have people like kneel and pray. Now I think you're ushered through walking by. So I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know what shit show the Vatican's going through right now, trying to pick the next pope. I know that they try to rush because they have this ideology that there needs to be a man in a position of power immediately. But who knows? Who knows where that's going to turn? So J.D. Vance tours Taj Mahal in India. Of course, he gets to go to the Taj Mahal, but the rest of us schmoes can't. So other than that, guys, T-Man just fast-tracked new jab through FDA. Still replicating it? Really? Have hope. Is that true, or are you just making that up? 'Cause I didn't hear anything about a new shot or new arm ticket or anything like that. But listen, I don't put anything past them at this day and age. I don't put anything past these people. Yeah, listen, to watch the whole funeral thing, it's interesting. I find it interesting. Just the simple fact, guys, that the Vatican puts an absorbent amount of money in the clothes they wear, the gold, the jewelry, like everybody's like there for God, and you see the fraudulency in the Vatican when you watch this stuff. That's another reason why I'm fascinated with it. I'm like, the casket, the way his body's put down gingerly like a feather. He's dressed to the nines. He's got all of the jewelry on that's probably worth more than my entire life. And then you start to figure out, and I figured this out when I was a kid. When I forgot which pope it was that passed away. And they laid him down, and I remember thinking to myself, look at all of this expensive shit being put in play. The security alone is astronomically high. The amount of stuff they have taken care of this guy is just astronomically high. The way the priests are taking care of themselves individually. The food that they're served, everything is top notch, and the amount of money that goes into it, that's not a man of God. And I'm pretty sure God didn't tell you, hey, dress fancy, guys. Not at all. Have this expensive ring, that staff, those hats, the servants, the security detail. The absorbent amount of money it's spent is insane. Insane. And for every pope that passes away and gets chosen, the amount of money spent on that is insane. So, other than that, guys, I'm going to go off the air now because now I got to go to work. I got to get dressed, or rather, put on work pants and then go to work. So other than that, guys, I will see you guys maybe tomorrow for a doubleheader, if not Friday. But other than that, guys, thank you for the support. Thank you for showing up early. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. Good morning.